Thank you so much for having this listening session. And my topic has been the soft skills in PG ophthalmology training, and my time starts now, sir. So Himanshu, please time me. And Professor the notorious who keeps speaking, so tell me when to stop him. So let's do a fact check. Fact one. People like me, doctor the second order first? No. Shifting equations so much so that this is required, and we all seen the horrible scenarios recently. Fact two, this is this reality. We have to see this reality, this new law, whatever the name you may give it a BNS now or something else, this is the reality. Second fact check, when you do a search for ophthalmology, you get this. Very rarely you see a patient touching a doctor or any connect. The focus is on skill training, technology, surgery. All the EIOS masters are sitting here. How much are these sessions? Most of the sessions are on skill training because that's what is required. So what was the genesis of this? Genesis of this disconnect was that surgeons needed to have a heroic mode previously because they had a revolting aspect of surgery. Surgeons were supposed to be barbers, initially. That was the era before anesthesia. Things changed. Let's try to put ourselves in our patient's shoes. And this very famous clip of the gentleman talking about the emotional connect.
We are not here to make friends. मैंने अपने 25 साल के करियर में किसी पेशेंट से दोस्ती नहीं की, किसी पेशेंट का दर्द महसूस नहीं किया, सिर्फ उस दर्द का इलाज किया. And I've done well. I do not love my patients. Confused? Let me explain. इस हाथ को देखो, rock steady. हजारों ऑपरेशन किए इन हाथों ने, लेकिन ये हाथ कभी नहीं काटे. लेकिन अगर मैं मेरी बेटी का ऑपरेशन करूं तो
so it will affect your surgical skill. Therefore, human connect is being eroded by emphasis on surgical and technical skill. A very true story named Placebo. AIIMS, New Delhi. Documentary film made by an MBBS student. He punches his right hand to the window pane in 2014, damages nerves, can't write, can't go to the classes. His brother stays in the hospital for 3 months, then 2 years, and nobody detects the outsider. Film explores this numbness, this unseen, in a premier courage. So if it affects your own peers, then what about patients? The name of the film was classically Placebo. So what can be done? These are the fact check has been done. What is a talisman? Talisman is listening or communication skills, and keep this visual image in mind. As I told, you have to understand to whom you are speaking. It's just not that you want to speak or you want to teach. Whom are you teaching to and whom are you speaking with? So for effective communication, today I'm in North India, tomorrow I'm in South India or West or East, I may not speak the same language. There are verbal barriers. Non-verbal communication, as beautifully told by Himanshu, transcends all barriers. And visual communications, we are ophthalmologists, so we should know what this is very effective. As this very beautiful picture shows, this child just feels the dismay of this fallen rabbit, which is just a statue. So non-verbal language is actually body language, which is very important, that connect of the hand gestures or the facial, the posture, the tone, like Dr. Partha just told how the tone changes, eye contact, facial expressions, hand gestures, touch also, safe touch. There's a science on touch itself. And these can be intentional or unintentional. Try to make it intentional. And this beautiful book by Milton Erickson on body language, because he felt it himself. He had polio as a child. He was stuck in the bed. At that time, polio was crippling. And he saw his parents and sister talk about his disease without talking actually. So he originated body language, and we all know Charlie Chaplin. No color, no language cues, just body language. And this very beautiful sculptor was given the prize in 2019, and guess what it was called? It was called Addiction. All of us, so many of us on the mobile phones right now. In front of the patients, we are on the mobile phones. So this is a communication deal breaker at any time. So then coming to the second fact check, empathy and sympathy. Sympathy has negative consequences, burnout, vicarious trauma. Empathy is professional detached concern. It's a cognitive content, entirely learnable behavior, and definitely ophthalmologists should learn empathy, as has been shown. We devised an empathy sensitizing module by paired role plays in separate situations of prescribing glasses to child, amblyopia therapy, advising laser therapy for an asymptomatic diabetic retinopathy, glaucoma medication adherence, and corneal donation motivation, which involved the grief aspects. And this, we asked the undergraduates to do a role play of good empathy doctor and a mirror scene of a poor empathy doctor. And the people who were observing were the postgraduates. So it was a hierarchical situation where we could sensitize both the undergraduates and postgraduates. This is an oft-quoted article of ours. Let's talk about the doctors themselves. We all keep saying patient, patient, patient. What about ourselves or our students? Let's talk about the students. You have to go through all these, whether by e-learning or non-learning. Book learning, skill mastery, so many things, so much competition, dealing with failure. When you came through the road, you could see these brick kilns. This is a brick kiln like you people, and that's a brick kiln like me. I'm saturated. You have to take care of yourself, otherwise transference is a problem. As this Pulitzer Prize winning picture of Kevin Carter was that the man adjusting his lens to take just the right frame of her suffering might just as well as be predator. Another vulture on the scene. Seeing this line written on the New York Times, Carter committed suicide. So we have to teach our students or ourselves resilience. Mind can also fall sick. A lot of problems of mental, at least in my hospital, in many hospitals, we are facing this. Learn a very simple thing. Mind is an organ of tissue, of neurons, or grey matter, or white matter, whatever it is. It's an organ. It can fall sick. Let us not destigmatize it. Then this bedside teaching, we must get it back, because this is deleting the clinician. We are becoming a phacotologist. I have used this as a term of proctologist or a phacotologist and not an ophthalmologist. And this very famous Patch Adams.
What if one of your patients had died?
What's wrong with death, sir? What are we so mortally afraid of? Why can't we treat death with a certain amount of humanity and dignity and decency and, God forbid, maybe even humor? Death is not the enemy, gentlemen. If we're going to fight a disease, let's fight one of the most terrible diseases of all, indifference. Now, I've sat in their schools and heard people lecture on transference and professional distance. Transference is inevitable, sir. Every human being has an impact on another. Why don't we want that in a patient-doctor relationship? That's why I've listened to your teachings and I believe they're wrong. A doctor's mission should be not just to prevent death, but also to improve the quality of life. That's why you treat a disease, you win, you lose. You treat a person, I guarantee you'll win no matter what.
You treat cataract, you treat glaucoma, you may lose. You treat retina, you may lose. But if you treat a patient, you will win. So as an eye doctor, remember, we should start taking the patient as a whole. Eyes are a part of the anatomy. Last would be, there is something, the problem with our education system too. MBBS is devalued, PG is devalued, now fellowship is required. So it's not our students' fault each time or everybody's fault that they are like that. They are made to be like that. So there are two sides of the same coin. When you look at teachers, when you look at us, let's have the mirror on ourselves. We are surrounded, dictated by ophthalmic practice, equipment, sale of this, getting this new. We are industry driven, pretty much industry driven. And even though NMC says it, we are. And it's like the Pied Piper of Hamelin, we just follow the tune. And this beautiful article by the chairperson, Dr. Partha, says that also, that the students are expected to learn by observing and following their teachers as it was in the ancient Gurukul times. Are we the right role models? Do we walk our talk? In case we don't walk our talk, our students will not listen to us and should not listen to us. So there's a gap between knowledge and practice. We need to do the right role modeling. Life is what we make it. This is what life brings us, and this is what we give to life. Thank you. Himanshu?
Better than Himanshu.
No, thank you so much.
I think this was a very, very nice talk, and I think I must congratulate Prashant for having structured this session so well. and each talk has so much of relevance to today's teaching and learning that I think, and the people who are on the podium to teach, I think you've really handpicked them very, very well. Professor Kirti's, of course, we have heard her lectures and we have heard the innovative way in which she strikes with the audience, and that's how it is. The soft skill for a postgraduate is so important even in today's world, and to emulate a teacher when the student is learning from the teacher. So what we do in our clinics, how we treat our patients, holding a hand for a person or getting a person to sit on the seat, gently helping the patient's head on the headrest, everything has a teaching and a purpose. Thank you very much.